This was Mainoo before.
Mainoo. It's a great what a goal from Kobbie Mainoo!
This was Mainoo under Amorim. And this is Mainoo now.
Away by McAllister. Kobbie Mainoo! Rattles it in at the Stretford end!
Michael Carrick's switch to a back four has sparked United's remarkable turnaround in the Premier League, allowing his players to shine in their natural positions. But in truth, the real game changer has been his decision to reintegrate the once alienated Kobbie Mainoo, whose return to United's midfield has revitalised their game in ways that even Ruben Amorim couldn't achieve. So what sparked this resurgence? And why is Mainoo, now more than ever during his career at Old Trafford, becoming crucial to this United side? Before Amorim's dismissal in early January, Mainoo had made just one start, an unfortunate outing in the Carabao Cup defeat to League Two side Grimsby Town. Meanwhile, in the Premier League, he played just 228 minutes across 12 appearances, all of which came from the bench he spent more time warming than his girls' cheeks. When rotating the team, even Manuel Ugarte of all players was preferred over him, with the Uruguayan logging 694 minutes under Amorim compared to Mainoo's 311 total minutes.
You love Kobbie, he starts for England, but that doesn't mean that I need to put Kobbie when I feel that I shouldn't put Kobbie, so it's my decision.
It's fair to say the former head coach showed a puzzling reluctance to trust Mainoo despite the 20-year-old academy graduate being the only creative option among United's natural central midfielders. Heck, Amorim would probably start Onana or even himself over Mainoo in midfield if he could. His preferred 3-4-2-1 system utilised just two central midfielders and a double pivot, which prompted him to deploy Bruno Fernandes there alongside Casemiro to bolster United's build-up play, as well as to fit both Cunha and Mbeumo in his front three. The assumption was that Mainoo's lack of defensive work was the reason things didn't work under Amorim, who believed they were too stylistically similar and could only be rotated in a like-for-like manner. And, let's be honest, no one in United's midfield is starting over Bruno when he's available. By December, Mainoo's situation had reached a tipping point, nearly pushing him to pursue a winter loan move to salvage what remaining chances he had of making the England World Cup squad. But since being reintegrated by Carrick following Amorim's dismissal, Mainoo has seized his opportunity with both hands. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, we'd be incredibly grateful if you subscribed. Your support helps us grow and continue creating the content you love. They say love is blind. But when it comes to Mainoo, the affection coursing through Manchester is anything but unfounded. First and foremost, he is a true son of United, making the fans' adoration for him entirely expected. Yet the reasons for their fervour run deeper than his simply being an English academy graduate. Back when Mainoo first stepped onto the pitch for his Premier League debut in November 2023, it was a case of love at first sight. Why? Well, amidst the pantheon of the club's recent midfielders, it was his technical attributes that shone brightest, dribbling past opponents in tight spaces and receiving possession under pressure.
He uses class, calmness at such a young age is incredible.
During the 2023-24 season, injuries in United's midfield combined with Mainoo's unique profile and confident displays quickly established him as a key member of the squad as he went on to score in the FA Cup final. However, it's important to remember that he had only turned 19 in April of that campaign. What were you doing at 19? And even by the end of 2024, there were still areas of his game that needed improvement. Footballers aren't perfect though, and it is the head coach's job to devise a style of play that gets the best out of his squad while developing young talents. Whether Amorim failed in this regard is up for debate, but it is fair to criticise the lack of minutes he gave to Mainoo, and how his preferred back three system reduced the number of attacking profiles in favour of more defenders, yet still proved leakier than a faulty condom you'd get from the dollar store. Fortunately for Mainoo, Amorim's sacking has brought him right back into the picture. Under Carrick, the switch to a back four has allowed United to field an extra attacking profile regardless of their shape across different phases of play. Significantly, this has freed up a spot for Bruno Fernandes in the central number 10 role, in turn allowing Mainoo to slot right into the double pivot alongside Casemiro. His partnership with Casemiro, one that Amorim had deemed unfeasible, has been impressive in of itself, let alone the fact that it has freed up Bruno to flourish higher up the field. The balance he brings to the team is one thing, but the excitement for fans to see an academy graduate shine is another. The 21-year-old has played a decisive role in guiding United back toward the European places where they belong, stepping up just as the season threatened to unravel following Amorim's sacking. Key to Mainoo's resurgence has been United's in-possession ideas under Carrick, particularly the decision to relieve him and Casemiro of the responsibility of delivering line-breaking passes to the forwards. After all, breaking the lines with zipped passes isn't one of Mainoo's strengths. So by assigning that duty to players who are adept at spamming these types of passes like Martinez and Maguire, Carrick is effectively utilising the squad's profiles to the team's advantage. Carrick's arrival has seen United emphasise playing more centrally than under Amorim. His team is operating closer together in the middle of the pitch to combine with speed, and favouring half-space play more often than Amorim, who relied more on his team shifting the ball out to the wing-backs to progress the attack. As a result, Mainoo frequently finds himself in positions to combine with the front four, carry the ball into space or recycle possession to restart an attack. These options align perfectly with his profile, as they allow him to excel in short passing combinations in central areas, aided by the narrowness and flexibility of the inside forwards. While he boasts an impressive passing accuracy of 92%, these aren't just sideways passes back to defenders either, with key passes now a regular part of his game. Under Carrick, United's possession spells have also become longer and more intricate than they were under Amorim, with sequences of more than 10 passes now occurring far more often, an increase from 9.7 to 12.2 such sequences per game. Longer spells usually come with a trade-off though, as they tend to slow the tempo. The question was whether that trade-off would materialise under Carrick. Under Amorim, United had already begun playing faster and more direct, ditching the slow build-up play from the back that plagued them last season like coronavirus, and in the process, cutting down turnovers in their defensive third. By match day 11, Amorim's side had attempted the third most long balls in the league, and their attack, ranked 5th slowest last season, had climbed to the 8th fastest. Interestingly though, United's overall speed of play has remained almost unchanged under Carrick. Even more encouragingly, that same speed in build-up play no longer depends so heavily on long balls from the backline and goalkeeper as it did under Amorim, thanks in large part to Mainoo's more progressive influence. Additionally, his press resistance and ability to receive the ball under pressure during the build-up phase work in tandem with Carrick's ideas, which aim to draw opponents higher up the pitch before combining to find the front four in the spaces between the lines or behind the defence. With the removal of a centre-back amid the formation change, you would have been forgiven if you thought Mainoo's increased responsibilities would expose his defensive frailties. However, this has not yet materialised, with Mainoo notably demonstrating improved defensive awareness and positioning compared to previous seasons. It also speaks to the excellent recent form of his midfield partner Casemiro. Despite being 34 and lacking the pace and intensity he once had, Casemiro has been instrumental in compensating for Mainoo's lack of physicality and challenges in covering large spaces during defensive phases. This makes finding a suitable replacement for the outgoing Brazilian absolutely vital for both the team, as well as for Mainoo's development. The latest decisive strike against Liverpool marked the peak of his comeback. It was the crowning moment of the final consequential game of the season and of a transformative 4 months for United. With it, Carrick had achieved the target set out for him upon his appointment, and at the centre of it all, applying the finishing touch, was Mainoo, the symbol of United's resurgence. It's easy to forget he has only just turned 21, his career still in its infancy, with his growth into the player he can become being far more important than who he is today. While his future at Old Trafford was the subject of speculation under Amorim, the uncertainty has since lifted with a new contract signed through 2031.
I think they would have sat down with him and sorted his contract out much sooner if he was playing more games under Ruben Amorim. It's only since he's been a regular under Michael Carrick that this has come to a head now.
The next priority will be figuring out who his next partner will be in midfield. But for now, positivity is permeating throughout the squad, which suddenly feels more attuned to the all-important academy, and by extension, to Kobbie Mainoo.
Kobbie Mainoo, confirmed for the World Cup for you?
I think if he continues playing the way he's playing now, then 100%. There's no reason why not. If you look at all the midfielders in that position, he's playing out of his skin right now, and I think he deservedly should get the call up.
He's had some real highs, he's had some disappointments, that's natural. I was similar myself when you're young and you're coming through, it's no different, you know, and it makes him better, it makes him stronger, it makes him more experienced, and he's showing that at the moment, you know, and he's a joy to watch.
If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more content like this. Also, don't forget to hit the notifications bell so you never miss a beat. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.